Paul, I want to thank you for taking this time this morning to come here and do this. It's been planned for what, 6 years now?
Sorry about that. Yeah. Good to finally be here.
I really appreciate it. Let's start off with, where were you born?
I was born in New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Yes, proud New Jerseyan.
Wow, okay, so let me ask you this. So in New Jersey, where in New Jersey?
South Jersey, over the bridge from Philadelphia, so it's more of a Philadelphia suburb.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
I'm a big Philadelphia sports fan. That's kind of the center of the universe in South Jersey.
All right, but see, you have an older sister, you said?
Older sister, 4 years older.
4 years older than you, right?
Yeah, she's still in Jersey.
And your mom and dad stayed together the whole time?
Stayed together, yep.
Right.
Yep. They were both from the Philadelphia area and moved to South Jersey.
Did they know each other for a long time before they got married, or?
Not too long, I don't think, no.
All right. All right, so you grew up, what was it like growing up in Jersey?
Looking back at it, back then, all I wanted to do was get out. But
why? What
I
made you
don't know. I think it's kind of a built-into New Jerseyans. I think Bruce Springsteen writes a lot about it, right? Getting out of Jersey, and a lot of Jerseyans have gotten out. And
was it a small area you grew up in?
It's hard to say. I mean, New Jersey is one of the most compacted population-wise states in America. There's 7.5 million people in that small state. So you dream about getting out. You dream what's on the other side. You're in the South Jersey. You're in the midst of Philadelphia, then New York up north. But looking back at it, I appreciate it more now than I ever did. And a lot of New Jerseyans will say that. Even Bruce went back.
Right.
He went to LA, went back to Jersey. He lives back in Jersey. But it was a great place to grow up. Very convenient. Again, like I said, Philadelphia right there, Atlantic City, the beaches, 35, 45 minutes. New York, an hour and a half north, the mountains. In the Poconos, you go Baltimore.
Did you travel a lot as a kid?
Just within that area, the north.
So you never really left outside of Jersey?
My biggest memory of travel was to Disney World, probably when I was 5. And that had a major impact on me. Still does. But just
really?
getting on a plane and the hospitality impact of Disney. Right. Still remember that. But mostly, we didn't travel much. We never traveled overseas. I was the one that kind of broke that mold.
What'd your mom and dad do? What'd your father do?
He was a pharmacist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your mother?
Worked for the school district. Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up. So what was it like growing up with a pharmacist as a father in a school district?
Not a big impact on their careers, really. I would say. Jersey, again, looking back at it, it was a good childhood in the late 70s, early 80s. What you see in these TV shows and these movies, it's a lot. I mean, always on our bikes, in the suburbs, playing sports and fighting, and it was very much like you see in those movies in the early 80s.
So what were the sports you were involved in?
I was involved with a lot when I was I grew up in all the Pee Wee little sports, baseball, soccer, basketball.
Your dad was really active with you?
He was not. He's not. Zero athletics. No, never.
Wait. So how'd you get him? Just on
played,
your own?
He never played sports. Wasn't into sports. Yeah. Again, because we're in this suburb and because New Jersey's populated, there's a lot of opportunities, and that's why I say, looking back, I like it. Jersey has a lot of opportunities. Okay. Everything's there.
So how'd you get involved with these sports?
Probably just just the group I ran with, the kids. We all. You talk about kids today are busy. I mean, we were always like that. It was something for every season.
But you had somebody's father had to start to initiate something.
You're probably right. You're probably right. But I think it was just your buddies in elementary school, and maybe it was just because everyone just dropped their kids into t-ball and Pee Wee soccer. But I really liked it. My friends really liked it. We played all the sports, and still sports is a big, one of the things that makes me the most happy.
So like what? What sports did you gravitate to more?
I did. So once I got to about 13, 14, I realized I liked all the sports, but I really wasn't great at anything. I was just okay. I enjoyed it, but I was like, so we were getting into high school, and then my friends that were good at those sports I mentioned were ready to compete. Right. They were, they had elevated to that level, but I didn't. And then I started just playing tennis in the summer near my house, and then realized I was better than my friends. So
because they didn't play tennis.
yeah, I mean they were athletic, so most
never
athletic
played tennis.
people can play tennis. But I think I had some instincts and I could win. And this was without any training or anything like that. So I said, let me stick to this. So some of the other friends that were into it at that time, we started playing a lot, just like fanatically. It was like a summer.
That's all you did?
6-7 hours a day. We could walk to the courts. It was free. And then we said, we want to get better. It was before high school, so we went and convinced our parents to let us get lessons. So we went for like group lessons, like 3 or 4 of us, and then kind of developed our skills. And from high school, I made the varsity team freshman year.
Okay. And
so that was a big deal. And then
you made the varsity team your freshman year.
My freshman year, yeah.
You came in ready to kick.
Yeah, I just started playing 2 years before that, or a year and a half before that. Yeah. So then I dropped all other sports.
You were just done with the rest of it. You said this is
not
going to
worth it. It's not worth it. Yeah. So I'm so for high school I wanted to compete like they were competing in basketball. And I wasn't that good at those sports. So so I was able to play 4 years in high school. I was able to play for my college, not Division I, just Division III. No, nothing.
What college was this?
Widener University outside of Philly.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then still today I played a couple days ago, and tennis is still the sport.
So you go to the embassy courts?
I played at the embassy courts, yes, with some folks there, wherever we can get courts in Tokyo, but not as much as I'd like to. It's probably with my job, it's probably one of the few things that I do to keep me active, but it's what I still enjoy.
Right. I didn't introduce you properly, but I figured that'd come up eventually.
Sure.
The fact that you happen to be the general or the person in charge of the Sanno Hotel, which is a military hotel run by the Navy. Correct. I believe.
Correct.
And this, am I correct or not when I say that is property that we basically, is it considered U.S. territory as long as we have as we're renting it or whatever we're
Correct.
doing?
Yep. So I'm the general manager of the Sanno. It's a unique property. It's considered a U.S. address. So that's to look at it simply. My address is actually my mailing address is a U.S. address in the middle of Minato-ku. But yes, it's a DoD property run by the Navy. It's considered a joint service facility. We serve all the services, DoD and DOS that are here in Japan, and those that come from overseas. And it's Navy run, and it's within the demographics of Asia. It's a large population of servicemen, women, families, diplomats.
Only Americans can get access to it?
Yes, so you need an ID card to get in.
Okay.
So a DoD or DOS ID card to get in, but you can sponsor guests. Special place. It's been the new Sanno for. It'll be 1983.
83 is when they moved here, right? From the
years.
Sanno in Yokosuka.
Yeah, so in 2023 will be our 40th anniversary.
I saw the montage of how it started.
When
they had it up when they had the pictures you put up. When did it start? What year did it start?
The original Sanno?
The original Sanno.
36 or 38.
Okay, and that was in Yokosuka location.
That was a Japanese hotel, fully Japanese hotel.
And we took it
Hotel.
over.
Post-war, General MacArthur, and it was offices and officers' quarters.
Wait, it was before the war?
Before the war, it was a Japanese hotel.
It was called the Sanno?
It was the Sanno Hotel, and it was one of the 3 most popular international type hotels with the Imperial and one more in the area. It was the only one that had like an indoor pool, and it was international. And but because of its proximity to the Japanese government, the Diet, it was used by the Japanese government a lot, and the Japanese military. It's also the site of a coup d'etat attempt. Nini-Roku Jiken was, and they used the Sanno as their encampment, put the flag on the roof, and there was some assassinations and government officials. So
inside that building,
inside the old Sanno.
Let me ask: the old Sanno, was that ever rebuilt, or was that the one that I went to? That was the original building.
That was
it
the
never
original.
was changed.
Never was changed. And then so post-war, because again the proximity and because it was pretty much became a Japanese government and military hotel. General MacArthur and so it was till the late 70s. It started getting quite old, and they moved to the.
They sold that property. They sold that property, I believe.
Yes. So and then it moved it to the current property in Minami-Azabu. So the arrangement was proximity to international community,
the
rail. transports. We got the highway
Right.
exit right there,
Right.
you know, so it's a great location.
You didn't lose anything that you didn't have in Yokosuka.
So
They
if
had
you
the
ask
same
the
thing.
people that were there, they say it's the charm.
Okay, right.
So you know, really didn't.
That's right.
They built almost the exact square foot. They built it with the same amount of parking spots. It was basically almost cut and pasted. You know, and you know, supposedly it had a lot of charm. I never got to visit it.
I was there. I was there quite often.
And it was
But people
supposedly
feel
a
that
neat
way.
place to be in the middle of Tokyo, right next to the old Hilton, right?
Right.
And you know, but the joke is also we've been the new Sanno now for almost 40 years. So
That's right.
How long
that's
do
right.
we, how long do we
It could be
keep,
new.
how long do we keep that new? So it's a lot of pressure to stay new. But 40 years next year, you know, so we're
That's
planning
right.
some big things for that, and you know, some celebrations. We'll do some historical stuff.
Right,
We're maybe
right.
talking about doing a book with Stars and Stripes, and
You did
Yeah.
a great job. You did a great job there. I'm telling you, you're doing a great job
Thank
there.
you.
I enjoy it when you're there. When you came in, just your aura. I like that, and being able to go there makes me feel really happy too. But I mean, really,
Thank
you're
you.
really a good person.
thank you.
I can tell you. I can't say that for all the GMs you've had. You know, at the Sanno. I can't say
Yeah.
for all of them.
Yeah, hospitality is, I enjoy it, you know, and probably back to my upbringing, but I definitely feel like this is where I belong.
Let's get back into that. So college. What did you study in college?
Hotel restaurant management.
Why?
Because outside of sports, probably my favorite things were going out to eat and staying in hotels.
Were you a big
It
kid?
was the only thing. I was probably a little chubby. I'm still a little chubby. But that's because I just enjoy food so much. But
You control it really well then.
yeah, no,
Some
I
people
should, yes, I do. I mean, I eat. It's my career, and it's a hobby, and it's an excitement.
But you don't do it to the point to where you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
A lot of people. So you obviously have a tremendous amount of control. If
Yes.
you love it.
especially working around it.
That's
you
right,
know,
all
you
the
got
time.
chefs that work for you.
But you were involved in F&B first, right?
F&B was my first. So yeah, I went to school for hotel restaurant management. Usually you choose the room side, hotels or food. I chose food. That was really where my passion was. So other than sports, I was really into food. My background, my family comes from Italian and Greek descent.
So tell me, was it like your
Natural.
grandmother taking you in there and showing you the pasta and
Yeah, I
what
have
they said?
memories of that. Yeah, so my
On your mother
my
and father's
maternal
side?
side is Greek. My paternal side is Italian.
Okay.
So very just hospitable people.
But who did you have most time with?
Um,
Your maternal side?
Probably the maternal side, the Greek
Okay, so
side,
no.
only because of my the Italian side passed away when I was a little bit younger. But
That's
I have very strong memories of the Italian side of food, of eating incredible food, of talking. Food was just so important, and I do remember getting my hands dirty and making pizza and stuff like that. The Italian side spent more time with the Greek side, and they were more about the food was dominant, but it was more about the hospitality. Hospitality is a Greek word, but. There was always people coming in, yes, and there's always, and it was built around the travelers that were coming to Greece, and
Okay.
it was always that you need to take care of people that are traveling and
So
make
in
them
Greek-
make them
so in
feel.
Greek.
That's what it means basically to make it. It's not a direct Greek word. It comes from
Okay, it comes from the
derivative.
derivative. Okay.
Yeah, so it's taking care of people.
Right.
So on the Greek side, my memory is really always the house full. Always family, friends.
Wait,
at
that's
the
your
house.
mother's side, of
Yeah.
course. No, wait, was she like that? She had a lot of people come over all the time?
My mom, not as much as my grandparents. So I think the biggest memory
Okay,
on
okay.
both sides is my grandparents. So
how long were they in your life?
My maternal grandparents actually came to America from Cyprus,
Okay.
and then my
Did they speak any English?
They spoke English, but Greek
could
was
also
their
speak Greek,
dominant.
that's right.
Greek was their dominant language.
Right.
My Italian side were born in the U.S. Their parents were born in Sicily.
Okay.
So it was a very hospitable, again, food was always a part of the conversation, family and friends. So like I said, sports was really important to me as a kid, but other than that, schoolwork maybe not as much, but I loved going out to eat as a hobby, not just like devouring food, but studying the restaurant and the service. And I just remember getting, like I said, going to Disney World at 5 was, mind blown, of,
But come on, but see, I'm trying to get into your grandparents
yeah.
and how that influenced you.
Yeah, huge.
So but do you had cousins, of course? Did you have cousins?
So
Your mother and father have a lot?
no first cousins, just second, third, fourth. We were not
Really?
that close, honestly. Not a lot of, they were around for holidays and.
So your
weddings,
parents,
you know.
neither one of your parents had a lot so
No, so my
you
mother's
just-
only child. Yeah, my dad's siblings. Yeah.
And you being the only boy for your grandparents on both sides.
Yeah, yeah, a little spoiled.
That's what I'm saying. So you really were around them a lot.
I was, and like I said, I think the grandparents had the biggest impact on me.
Because you're their grandchild, and they wanted to make sure you knew.
And
your culture.
And actually, you know, my grandfather on the Greek side, he was big into sports. He was a diehard Philadelphia Phillies fan. So he worked for Boyd's in Philadelphia, made suits. He made a suit for Wilt Chamberlain, and tailored suits for the Sixers and the Eagles and the Phillies. So maybe that's how I got to really like sports a lot, but food was always there, hospitality was there. And if we went out to eat, we don't have to eat a lot. Right. It was always a
You said you did go out a lot?
We did. And it was, I was always probably more excited than the average kid to go out to eat. And I still am. Probably, it's just something that I enjoy. And then going to hotels or
so
travel.
Tell me some of the favorite memories you have. I mean, like you went there. I know you you pack it all together.
Yes.
Because you loved it, but there had to be times you'd sit at the table. And what were some of the things you really couldn't wait? I mean, you just...
Yeah, and
some of the meals.
And it's not really about specific food, honestly.
It wasn't?
It's just the experience. It's not, you know, I have favorite foods and I have memories of a kid, but it was more of, I don't know, it's just exciting. It was...
When the waiter came up to you?
It was the whole
the
experience. I loved it, and that's what, and then traveling as well, going to hotels was such a big deal.
Wait, did they know did a lot of places you went to, did they know your name?
We probably went to the same 10 places.
And they come and say, Paul, come on, sit over here. Come on, have a seat and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, we probably went to a lot of Italian or Greek-owned places at the time. Jersey diners, you know, were you know, all hours. And we always, even as a teenager, when high school and college, food was dominant. Going to the diners at midnight in Jersey was huge.
So you had buddies that felt the same way, obviously.
I think it was, well, a lot of them have similar upbringings. Okay. And food in Philadelphia and New Jersey area is very important, in general anyway. So then more important maybe with my upbringing. And then once I started to think about what do I want to do for a career in high school, I had no idea. I thought I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to be just something, whatever the test told me I was going to do.
That would get you out of Jersey.
Yeah. I was following Bruce, right? So, and then I realized that made me happy, and you can do it. You can get paid to do that for a career, and why not? So, went to Widener, which was hotel restaurant management. It was a standard school, but they were known for their hotel restaurant management program.
Right.
And 4 years there, and really, you know, can you imagine sitting in a classroom for 4 years studying the business of food and hotels
and you never
and
got
marketing?
You excelled in those classes?
I did better in college than I did in high school academically.
Because you were doing what you wanted to do.
Yes, it was the classes that were outside of the major that I did bad on. But I didn't know why I had to take it. So I have a selective memory.
Right.
So again, these are the things, like I said, sports and food, and that that I'm interested in. I hone in on, and when I'm not interested in something in those classes, I kind of block it out. And I have a hard time
getting back in on.
Yeah, I had to fight to pass those hospitality ones. And I played tennis too in college too, so I was doing what I liked. Made sure I passed the boring classes.
That's interesting.
Hospitality seemed natural, and it's still to this day, I'm kind of a geek about food and hospitality. That's what it's like a hobby.
Okay, so let's get back to your food. Do you find that also a time when you get to talk?
Well, that's another thing.
And socialize?
Yes, it's a social moment. And
but for some families it isn't. Mine, it was a mission.
Yeah, so I never understood that, and I when I'd go out to eat at friends' houses and there'd be like
a mission.
No talking, and you're
like,
right.
You got to get through with this mission.
Sustenance.
Right.
You eat to live.
That's right.
And
that was it.
No, right. So to kind of come full circle, to wrap up the food, I could talk food all day, but to wrap up the food, we'll just say we had a very high ranked dignitary come from Washington recently, and he was meeting with his Japanese counterpart, and it was his first overseas visit in his position. He was promoted in his position. It was a big deal, and even at that level, it's a big deal when you meet your counterpart from the country, and there's a lot at stake. And I usually welcome the VIPs, the DVs that come to the hotel, and try to act as hospitality. I try not to act as the officer,
right, the commander, right.
I try to just, make
tone
them
that
know
down.
that, you please feel comfortable while you're here.
And we'll take care of it.
We're going to take care of it, and we want your trip to be efficient and effective. And I remember saying to him that I knew that his guest was into whiskey, and that we had some special American whiskeys that I think could help, start off the conversation and break it. And I said to him, I made a comment about just how my philosophy on food, and I said that through food and through good food and drink, and then the conversations can just become natural, and it doesn't matter what culture or background you're from. That people that like food or drink, they light up, and then you can just have a human to human conversation, but with the basis of a good meal.
That's right.
And I observed his meal, and he started off, and he introduced this Tennessee whiskey, and again, very American.
Was he into food too? I mean, did he handle it well?
Yes, I could tell he was. I mean, maybe not a foodie, but he understood what I was saying, and because everyone probably talks to him in military language,
right,
of you need to say this and da-da-da, and I was putting it into human, and I wasn't trying to teach him, but I wanted to make it a successful event for him, and so he opened up with the Tennessee whiskey, and his counterpart, his eyes lit up, and then they drank. Oh my gosh, and then it just was loud for the next 20 minutes.
But they were being productive.
Yeah, and then just an awesome meal, and the chef coming out. So, that's what I see what food can do, right? So these are different countries, different military leaders, politics, and so I think also when I'm nervous, I can use food to help,
soothe those nerves.
Yeah, right. So
But wait. So when you're nervous.
Yes. Yeah, if I'm nervous or having a bad day or stuff like that, it's usually my comfort zone is sitting at a table with food or drink. Yeah.
So we should have had a meal here.
Yeah, we should have. Yeah. Well, so I think it was part of why the funny thing is I know I've been hard to lock in, and
that's okay.
And
I'm happy you're doing this. I don't care. You're doing it. I don't care where. I do not care. I got you here.
But and I told you my joke was because whenever I see you, we're usually laughing about something.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of. And I've driven in cars with you, so I just had this. I had this imagination of comedians in the cars getting coffee, and you were Jerry Seinfeld, and I had to be the other comedian, and I wasn't ready to do that. But you know what the thing is? The thing is, I probably wanted to do it because I'm more comfortable if we were at a coffee shop.
A coffee shop.
If there was food and drink in front of me.
Yeah. When did you first get a hotel?
Okay.
Is this the first?
So this is my first hotel general manager spot. So I was always in hospitality. At college, I did internships in the field. We had to do internships at co-op, but it was mostly in the food and beverage side. But my advisor at Widener was a former sailor, and I never thought about the military. And he, I remember being in his office. I can picture it clear as day. Looking at him in the window, I can picture the whole scene. And we had to do 2 internships to graduate. So it was before my first internship, and he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to travel. That's all I really know. I want to travel. I want to get paid to travel."
Okay, right. Okay.
And then he goes, "Did you ever think about the Navy?" I'm like, "You mean join the Navy?" And I said, "No." And then he goes, "No, work for the Navy." I'm like, "A civilian? I could work for the Navy?" And then I'm picturing galleys,
Right, cleaning them, painting the walls,
Cream Chip Beach, and the submarine, and I'm like,
"Yes, it's not going to work."
I'm like, And I said, "What about cruise ships?" And he goes, "You don't want to work on a cruise ship." He goes, "You got 1,000 people there that are getting having the time of their life." He goes, "But the staff, it's not a fun thing for the management of the staff. It's not the same." He goes, "It's hard work, and it's kind of stressful." And he goes, "Think about the Navy." He said, "You'd be surprised." And so he sent me some things.
As a civilian, or he wanted you to enlist?
As a civilian. So he gave me some things to research, and then I was like, "All right," and I read it. And understood that there's these opportunities, and so made the connections. And Navy Bureau of Navy Personnel at the time, it's called something else, then called me up and then said, "Are you interested in da-da-da?" And then I was a freshman in college, and then all I cared about was travel at that point. So I was looking at their booklet, and I'm like, I said, yes, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, or Bermuda. And they're like, what? I said, I read your portfolio. That's where I want to go. And yeah, she laughed. And then she said, well, give us your resume, da-da-da-da-da. We do summer internships for 3 months, and you can get credit for your school and blah, 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 blah. So they put it out to the world. Is anyone looking for an intern? It's
to
fun.
do what? What would you be doing?
To be so on the bases, there's military clubs.
Okay.
Officers clubs.
Right. NCO clubs. Right.
Right. So working in those in the food and beverage, not rooms, food and beverage, club management.
Okay.
Like the officers club.
Right.
TAC. So I said, okay, let's try that. And then I got a call. Said that the team in Bermuda is closing down the base. The base the naval base in Bermuda is being closed. So they need help, and they are seeking interns for the summer to help them do a lot of things. And so, yep, sign me up. So I went to Bermuda for the summer as my freshman year summer. So what am I, 19? And then did 3 months there working at their all hands club with a club manager, learning military club management. So before I went, they made us study protocol, ranks,
Of course,
Navy protocol,
how to address people right,
proper address, how to service, how to read the ribbons and understand. And so they gave us the book, sent it to my college. Right, nothing's on the internet, no internet, and had to read that and take a test, and then continue that throughout the internship, while this mentor, who was a club manager, would lead me. And so we did that, and it was just amazing. Got to live in Bermuda for a few months and help them with it.
What, a half a year or how long?
3 months.
3 months.
Summer, yep. And then it was an amazing place. I've yet to go back, and I regret that. I want to go back. Beautiful place, beautiful people, but learned a lot about the Navy, learned a lot about club management, and loved it. So I just, my memory then takes me to the next year. Okay. And I tell this people, because now Japan's been a part of my life for a while, and and people ask me, how did that happen? And the story for that is also a very clear memory, is that I remember they called, I don't know if it was the time difference, and it was like Friday night at like 7 p.m.
Well,
I was at college in the apartment with like 12 friends Friday night, so you can
But
imagine.
how long was this after Bermuda?
This is probably November, December.
Wait, but Bermuda
ended in August.
August, okay. So then that same year,
on a Friday night at like 7 p.m., I get a phone call. There's like 12 people in my apartment Friday night, so we're ready to start the weekend.
Now, are you a junior, senior?
Sophomore.
Sophomore, okay.
Right. So I just remember we had beers, and by that time, quite a few beers. And the phone rang, and I answered. It was really loud in the apartment, and I remember telling everyone to shut up, And this was the Navy. And I think because I was feeling good, I just was like, I want to go to your biggest club in the world.
You said that?
I said that. I had no...
no inhibitions whatsoever. And you were drunk.
This is a reality.
Okay, all right.
This is a reality.
I got you.
I want to go to your biggest club in the world.
You said what was on your
mind.
mind.
What am I going to lose,
Right.
I didn't think I was going to do a career with the Navy.
Right, yeah.
So... So I got a call back. The Club Alliance in Yokosuka, Japan, is our largest enlisted club in the world. It does $5.5 million a year in revenue. And it has 5 bars, 3 restaurants. I'm like, send me there.
Wait, hold on. They called you.
Yeah.
You're inebriated.
Yes.
Got your buddies around you. Tell them, shut up. And you just fire off, I want to go to the biggest club you have in the world.
Yeah.
And then you hung up or what?
I still remember it so clearly.
Did you hang up?
I think they probably laughed and then said, no, they said that you did a good job in Bermuda. I remember they said that they liked you.
Oh, they were calling you up to tell you that?
Yeah, and then would you be interested to do another one?
Right, and that's what you said, take me to be, okay, and then you said that, did they hang up?
They hung up, and then probably...
They laughed, hung up?
Yes, and then probably a couple weeks later, whatever, I got an offer to go to Yokosuka.
The largest
club in the world. Yeah, yes.
You had to say, did you remember that you'd said that?
I did, and I just at that point, I was like, do I really want to go?
Because you thought they might really send you.
Is that what I want? You know?
Where's it going to be? And it depends on where it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
what is Alaska or something?
At this point, so it's like, Japan? You know, so...
and you'd never thought about Japan?
Never thought about Japan. And then thought about it and said, yeah, send me.
Well, how much time did you think about it?
I think I said, give me a week.
Now, outside of Bermuda, you'd never been outside the United States.
Correct. And Bermuda's a 2-hour flight.
It's like
outside.
It's our territory. It's our territory.
No, it's British. It was like going to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like going to Florida. Yeah, people don't realize how close it is to the East Coast.
Right.
You know.
Well, see, I was stationed in Puerto Rico.
Okay, so similar. Right. Yeah, similar. You know, I wanted to go there. I thought Puerto Rico would have been cool. So yeah, they said Yokosuka. Once you have a general manager there, and you're going to be a food and beverage intern. But
meaning you're going to do what? Were you going to cook or anything? Or
you're going to cook. You're going to manage. You're going to do management, business analysis. But they have an officers club there, an all hands club, a chiefs club. You're going to spend a couple weeks at each club.
Doing what? You're going to have to
cook
at each club?
To be a club manager.
Okay.
So their goal was to get people from college that were educated and trained in hospitality management to become their club managers.
Okay.
That was the plan. Sent me to Yokosuka.
But wait, you're still in college though. You hadn't graduated yet, had you?
No, I was just a sophomore.
I know. So what do you? Wait. Just for the summer?
Mm-hmm.
For 3 months.
Yep.
And you went to Yokosuka.
Yeah. Yep.
Had the time? Tell me what happened. I want to put words in your mouth. What happened?
Yeah, they put me in the like officers' barracks. I got like a little room for the summer, and
you're all of what? 20 what?
I was probably 20.
Just 20. Yeah.
20, and then got to see the Club Alliance, which is still there, right at the gate at Yokosuka, the big one at the gate. You know, it was a bigger deal then.
Right, of course.
And it was got to meet the management team, and you're going to be the intern. So they gave me this plan of kitchen, bartender, cashier, this type of management, that type of management at the officers club, the chiefs club, the enlisted club, and you're gonna learn. And I did that for the summer, but at the same time thought just mind blown of Japan. Right?
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
what did it? Tell me what did that.
So maybe again, maybe the complete opposite of New Jersey.
That's not hard to say.
It's flipped on my Jersey flipped on its head, and I thought that was intriguing. That it was something completely different from my comfort zone.
But what were your impressions of it? Because the way you perceive it and someone else could be completely different.
So first off, it was that this is different. So I'm excited that I can learn something different and appreciate and understand something different. And then it was what got me hooked probably was their appreciation of food as well. That's what got me hooked. So then I was just realizing even at a young age that they had an incredible appreciation for quality food. Italian, doesn't matter if it's French, Japanese, Chinese, and I was like, wow. And they take food really seriously like I do, right? So and they get excited about food. Right? They love
the preparation, everything.
So I'm like, that's what got me. And then it was probably at that point, honestly, female. So my current wife, I met at that first internship.
No.
Yeah. So
you've known her that long?
Yeah, we met at that internship at 20, and I was 20, and then. Met her through a friend of a friend of a friend. It was not on the base. Okay. It was at a friend's house. It was having like a 4th of July type barbecue, girlfriend's friend's friend and stuff like that. And she came to visit her girlfriend, and I was there. And that's my wife, Noriko, today. And we met, and so then between Japan blowing my mind, food, and then female, you put that together. What you got to? I'm like,
paradise.
And then the job was cool.
But you were 3 months there, so
it was only 3 months. The job was cool. We were rocking and rolling. I'd work till 3 a.m.
Loving
big bar operations, nightclub, bands, disco. Just.
What year is this?
There was lines to get into the club.
I remember.
Every weekend.
I know.
Lines to the station.
I know. Yeah.
And I would work the door sometimes.
But
they'd give me the headset.
What year?
1 in, 1 out. That was 95.
95, yeah.
96.
You were
It
killing
was still that was kind of the end of the heyday, right?
Yeah, that's when Prince was in. This 1999 was the end of it, yeah.
Right.
When he did that, that's almost made the end of it.
Right, and then with the terrorism and
That's
everything,
right,
it
then it was
changed
done.
because the access and everything.
Once 9/11 hit, that was done.
Yeah.
It was done. It was petering out anyway.
It was.
But 2001 made it end. That was the end.
Yeah, it was a different time, and
That's right.
so the job was great.
Okay, but still, take me to the 3 months there. You meet Noriko.
Mm-hmm.
You find out Japan is a food lover's dream come true.
Yeah,
Right.
It still is.
You go back to college.
I do.
Then what happens?
And we only have to do 2 internships and 1 co-op to graduate. But Yokosuka called back that year and said, "You want to come back this summer again to do another internship with us?" And because we'd be interested for you to come back after you graduate. I'm like, "Well, I don't really have to. I completed my 2. Do I really want to? What made me come back?"
Noriko.
So it was pretty much the only reason I came back. And then I said, "Something's there."
Because you didn't have anything else planned.
No, I didn't. I thought I was just going to stay in Philly or Jersey.
But to do what?
I would get a job, but I didn't have to do a formal requirement.
Right.
So I would do something maybe. Go down to the beach house with my friends, right?
Right.
And you work at the bar.
I bet you thought about that for a while, and then you said, "Yeah, okay." Mm-hmm. Or should I be with Noriko?
Yes. And I could see, well, this could be something. I never thought the Navy would be a career choice. I thought I would do it and then go to the private sector, and that was my dream. But it's like, maybe there's something there, because that was pretty fun. The job was fun too. And I saw an opportunity, and I saw that they were really interested in me, that I could probably rise, pretty quickly in that field and in those locations. So that intrigued me. So I came back. We, built our relationship. I solidified that my career, that's something that I'd be interested in.
How long after you went back did you come back?
So then I graduated.
How long was that?
I graduated the next year.
You guys had a long distance relationship. You never came back during that time?
Without email, right?
Right, no email or anything, just phone calls, and that was
expensive phone
calls,
letters.
Right.
And letters.
You had to wait 2 weeks at a time. Yeah.
we still talk about that, and then graduated university.
And you guys didn't see each other during that time at all?
Oh, she came and visited me once. She came and visited me in the States when I was a senior.
And you knew that
was her first time in the U.S.
Okay.
We went to New York and Disney World.
Is that right?
And and then.
And your parents? How were your parents about
it? They were concerned that I was going to go to Japan and never come back.
They were right. wait.
They have instincts, parents, right?
They know.
Yeah.
So, but she met your parents when she came that time too?
She did.
Yeah.
And again, very different. We talked about the kind of the European, packed houses, and I remember her first impression. I think she came, it was around Christmas time, and I think there was like 15 or 16 people in our house, and Jersey people.
Why?
I think holidays.
But friends or family?
My sister's friends, my parents' friends.
Okay.
And I just remember my wife's first impression was like, "It's so loud in here." And she had to go upstairs and lay down.
Because there's too
She had a headache.
Much, yeah.
It was the stimulation, right?
Right, too much.
In your house.
Right.
In your house.
In your house. She hadn't even gotten out yet.
And I think I fed her a Philly cheesesteak for the first time for dinner, so she was not feeling well.
She was done, yeah.
She was like, that was the most fat grease I've ever consumed in one seating. I took her to Pat Steaks, the king of steaks in South Philly, and it about killed her.
Her stomach did a flip-flop on that one.
So that night she probably thought about, do I see something here? Is there a future here? But no, it was just it was funny. We can laugh about it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then.
But your family was pretty receptive to her.
I mean, I think Well,
I'm sure you pretty much demanded they be.
It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a choice. I mean, at that point, my age. When you're that age, you don't really.
What age?
Listen.
You were 20-something.
You don't listen.
Right.
You kind of.
Oh, I see. No matter what they say.
You're doing your own thing.
Right. But they didn't disband you or anything like that. Say if you marry her, they didn't do that to you.
No.
Right.
I don't think it was.
But they did want.
I don't think it was a big bear hug. But
I know. Yeah. I'm sure they kept on showing you these Philly girls that I'm sure. Come on, Paul. Come on, Paul. Look at the Philly girl over here. Come on. And you're going
with the big hair.
Nope. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
At that point, I was done. Yeah, so graduated, and Yokosuka offered me a full-time job, and my first full-time job out of college was a full-time management job in Yokosuka.
So you finished 4 years of college,
Yeah.
and you went to Yokosuka and never came back.
Well, I did. I actually ended up moving around the
But
system.
how long was it before you married Noriko? When you came back?
3 years later.
3 years later.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I'm not going to, you don't have to get into the details, but it wasn't smooth sailing. Anybody being together, I'm
Right.
sure you had some breaks.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, that's
east
usually-
is east, west is west.
Right, exactly.
And that was the main thing.
That's
So
right, trying to say it should be this and she
and
said.
again, I was very Jersey, and I use a lot of sarcasm, and
And she wasn't having it.
Japanese don't use sarcasm.
No.
It's kind of like the opposite of
Right.
how you would talk to somebody.
Yeah, how dare you?
I was Seinfeld, Seinfeld. So I actually lost most of that, honestly. Yeah. There was definitely challenges, and we all, we had to, really think about it. And but then I know for me, I had the realization that it was 100%. I mean, there was no doubt. Yeah. So So we got married a few years after that.
Well, how were you with her parents?
They were, same thing. I think it was.
Okay.
It was a
they were
big,
kind of reserved.
little reserved.
No bear hugs there.
So
either.
then, same thing. Losing her to the U.S.
That's
right?
what they assumed, right? Of course.
And then,
did she have siblings?
Older brother.
How many years difference?
3 years.
Almost like you and your
Almost
sister.
the same. An older brother, and
She had the same kind of relationship, kind of. She's not close, but close.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
They're not apart. You guys aren't apart. You don't dislike each other. You're just
Right.
not close with each other.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So so we the funny thing to that story was when I proposed to her, and then we started planning the wedding. We planned a weekend at a hotel in Tokyo called the New Sanno, and
You didn't-
I was Yokosuka. No,
You didn't know about it.
I knew about it, but I didn't really know about
You'd
it.
never been there.
No, so we went and stayed the weekend at the New Sanno to meet with the social director to plan a wedding. And I was in the bar with my wife having drinks.
It was designed different than it is now.
We were in the
old
bottom
bar.
part where like the movies were.
Because where the bar is now used to be the casino.
And yeah, we were like in the where like it was the smoking end. Where the
Right,
movies
yeah,
were.
yeah.
We were sitting in there, and the general manager and his wife were having drinks, and called us over to the table. Said, "We understand you're planning a wedding."
What's his
here."
name? Wait,
Charlie Cavill.
Charlie DeVille.
Yeah.
He's one. Yeah.
Yeah, and said, "Please sit down." Said, "We understand you're planning your wedding here," and I remember he goes, "I heard a lot of good things about you and what you've done in Yokosuka. You're opened up this brewery and this restaurant, and you're kind of making a name for yourself. How old are you?" And like 20, whatever I was, 24. And he goes, "Why don't you come work for me?" I was like, "Huh?" and
He's
then,
that kind of guy.
Yeah, he goes, "Yeah, come work for us." He goes, "Oh, it's much better than what you're doing down there." And we're just having drinks. So I was like, "What?" And then I came back the next time to do our second meeting with the social director, and he knew I was coming back to plan the wedding, and he brought me in his office, shut the door, put a piece of paper in front of me with an offer, and I was like, I didn't know he was serious.
He was very serious.
He was very serious,
That's Charlie.
right? And
He gave you an offer you couldn't refuse.
and it was. I just remember again. All right, so.
He knew exactly what you were being paid there. He had all the steps.
Yeah.
He knew everything. But so
And getting married there, and at that time for me, Tokyo was more exciting than Yokosuka, right?
everything.
And my wife's from Tokyo,
Right.
and accepted the job, as an assistant food and beverage manager, and then that was what brought me to the Sanno for the first time. So
Your wife was, I'm sure she was tickled pink.
I was excited. So we
She
moved to
couldn't-
Tokyo. We lived here in Nakameguro, and I was, I got to be a young food and beverage manager there and learn the hotel
And you were
side.
that's what you were telling me when you came to my apartment. You said you
Mhm.
guys used to not live far from there. That's
not
right.
far from Ebisu, and just fell in love with Tokyo, and again the food, and again all that stuff, and did that for a few years, and then the offers kept coming, and
From other places.
other places, So I ran around the world a little bit.
Wait, so where'd you go? So okay, so after how long did you stay here?
So it was Yokosuka, then the Sanno, and then I think I was golfing at Atsugi, and the director there put an offer in front of me. He wanted to consolidate his clubs and wanted someone to run it. And
it was
a better offer.
Better offer, okay. And you took it?
I took it.
All right.
Didn't want to leave Tokyo, but it was at that time I was very conscientious and wanted to grow in the system.
Okay.
So did that for a few years. Then at Atsugi ran their system. Then there was some wrongdoing at the club systems in Korea. Thefts and bad management. The management was, like.
When you say thefts, you mean like embezzlement?
Yeah, like employee theft.
Okay.
And then there was some problems with management. So the admiral there, he knew the club systems in Japan were big, and asked the admiral here in Yokosuka to send a couple of managers for 3 weeks at a time to do an analysis, let him know kind of which way forward it should be. So while I was at Atsugi, they flew me to Seoul for 3 weeks. I did a assessment, presented to the admiral, and then they didn't want to even open the position.
Wait. How did you do the assessment? You did the assessment?
They flew me to Seoul to do an assessment of their club system, their quality of life program, and kind of what was wrong and how to clean up the program, make sure there's no wrongdoing going on.
Wait. So how would you go about doing that? You had a team with you? You were a team, or was it just you?
Just me with the support of the command.
So you went to each division and said, provide me with this.
Yeah, and I wasn't like an investigator. Like the wrongdoing stuff was being investigated by legal people.
I understand that.
I was to how can I clean up the program and take the program to the right level.
But these people knew they were being investigated. You must have received a lot of resistance.
Yeah, it was a little hard.
You see what I'm saying?
It was a little hard.
Having been over it.
Because I think some of the staff were involved.
That's what I'm talking about.
Turned out they were.
If they're being investigated, they're still doing what they're doing.
There was. Yeah, so I got to, with the admiral and the captain there and present my...
Saying you had several dead ends, and they said, okay, those are the guys.
And this is what we should do, and this is what we should do to improve the quality of life program, the food, the services, and stuff like that. And then they basically opened up the position as like a country. The Navy's not too big in Korea, as big as the Army and the Air Force, so a kind of quality of life person out of their club in Seoul to run quality of life for Korea. I'm MWR director, and they offered me the job. So that was a big step, leaving Japan.
Your wife wanted to do it?
Noriko wanted to? I mean, she was like, okay, she kind of knew that I wanted to probably travel around.
Okay, and she said,
this was the first step. It wasn't a huge first step. It's a few hours away. So we did Korea for a few years, got that program kind of cleaned up, and then...
You were over the whole facility?
Yeah, the facility, but then also the quality of life program for the country, for the Navy in Korea.
Oh, you were over all of that?
Yeah,
okay.
I became quality of life director for the whole program.
Okay.
So we have base in Shinhei and Seoul. And then from that point, headquarters offered me a position to come to DC to run the food and beverage program for the entire Navy. Yeah, so... Yeah, just for the business side, not the official side, not the galley stuff, but all the clubs.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
So every base in the world has these clubs.
Okay.
Has fast foods in the restaurants, foods in food courts, foods at the theaters.
Okay. Right.
And they have a food and beverage program as part of the overall program that has headquarters folks. And they have one that does the business food and one that does the galley food.
Now the business food is the restaurants and stuff like that, right? Like the Chili's or the...
Yeah, it could be Chili's contract.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
But that's business. That's...
Right.
And people...
That's Navy MWR business.
But then when you're talking about feeding the military...
Yes.
That's
like
different.
The official feeding is...
That's what I'm talking about,
the
official
three hots.
That's right.
That's galley feeding. So
that's galley feeding. Okay, right. That's not public at all.
Cubicle was right next to mine. Yeah, we worked for a commander.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I ran that, and
him and
so there was a female commander was our boss, and there was me and a guy that he ran the galley, I ran the business.
Okay.
And then it was great. We got moved to DC, so get inside the belly of the beast, right?
What was that like?
I liked it.
Was it like the movies?
Yeah, no. I mean, because my position was not.
Did you spend a lot of time back in Jersey while you were there?
It was easy, 3.5 hour drive.
Right up
easy,
the parkway.
95.
Yeah.
So we got to do that. So I knew going back would be good.
For your kids? Or?
2 kids, they can learn about America, see my
How
family.
old were they when you went back, your daughters?
6,
They were
7.
still young.
Yeah, and 2 really young.
Were you raising them to speak Japanese and English?
That was the plan, but then we started moving around so much that English
became the language.
The default.
Right.
Yeah. So DC was good for a few years, and with the job, I got to travel. So I got to go and do assessments as my job. So I got to go to Bahrain and.
Wait, but not with your family. Your family
by
stayed.
Myself.
Your family stayed in
Yeah,
DC.
I would go for like a week at a time to these places. My full-time job was in DC, and then probably 6, 7 times a year would go to do an assessment. So Middle East, Europe, Greece, Spain, Italy.
Did you have a lot of situations like? I mean, how many situations did you run into that were like Korea?
Bahrain was one of them. The food and beverage manager there. It was
You knew right away.
Shady.
When he came in,
Something was going
when he came
on.
in, he said, "Welcome here, Paul."
Something shady. Yeah, and that was an interesting trip.
That was good.
Bahrain in August at 120 degrees.
You said I'm not gonna get a lot done here, but I can get a lot done here.
Yeah, but of course, San Diego, Norfolk, all these places. But the place that stuck out for me the most was Europe. So first time I visited Europe was with that job just for a week or 2.
Where in Europe?
I visited Naples, was our Navy headquarters, Sigonella, Sicily, and my family comes from Sicily, so I got to go.
Did you see any?
I did. I took a bus to the town where my ancestors came from.
Did you get to see any relatives?
I did not. No. So those were. It was just. I don't think any of them are there. Most went to America.
Okay.
And then Crete, and so I got to feel Greece, and I got to go to these bases, and then.
Did you get any ouzo while you were in Greece?
Oh yeah. Came out in Europe, like in Italy, Greece, like oh my God. But I felt like when I was in Sicily and Greece, you can feel your heritage. Like so, I did the Japan thing, Korea,
right. That's good.
but this one felt like I felt like ET going back to his planet. Yeah,
They feel good.
Walking around Italy and
the
Greece.
people look like you. Everything,
Right.
that's all of it.
Well, when I was in Italy,
looking at me, and said, "Is that me? Are you me?"
Right?
Yeah.
I'm walking around Italy and my name's Savarese, and they're Paul
They loved
Savarese.
you. Oh, they loved
Right,
you.
Come on, So
And
you're
you say
Italian.
yes.
You stay here, right? So
You give me goosebumps. I'm not even gonna tell you.
It was. I said, I was like, I remember telling my wife, I said, "This is like, I think I belong here." So and so it was great.
No, wait, she came over with you
She
too?
didn't. No. So but out of all those places, and even though Greece and Italy were home, the place that made the biggest impact on me was Roda, Spain. Roda, Spain just was my favorite.
What?
Gosh, the feeling, the people, the love life. I mean, how they spend their free time.
How?
Just priorities. Work. I mean, and it's not in a bad way, but family and is number one, and food and enjoyment and socializing. These are the priorities of life, and you have to. This is what a successful life is. Successful life is not judged by business. Successful life is judged by the happiness you have in
enjoying it.
All this time, all those hours outside of work and your free time, and how you use that. And you can feel it. It just permeates everywhere. So I was, and the people were so kind and friendly and fun, and the base was cool. I remember I liked it, the setup, and it was what was cool about it was a Spanish base. And the U.S., we were just tenants there. The Spanish flag flew, not the American flag. We were there because we wanted to be there. We needed to be there, but it's a Spanish base, which was cool too. Kind of interesting.
It's
something
interesting,
different.
right?
Yeah. So, long story short, that's where my new goal was.
To get to Roda Spain.
And we got there. So made it back to Spain, which was awesome. And then full-time there as the Fleet Readiness Director, Quality Life Director for Spain, but also the elements in Valencia, Madrid, and Lisbon, Portugal. We have small little elements there. So I was kind of the country and regional person there.
And you got to go to each one of those places?
Got to go to Valencia 3 or 4 times, Madrid 3 or 4 times, Lisbon 3 or 4 times. Yeah. So we were there for about 4 years. And learned how to live life and how to enjoy life, and still to this day, the people there, love
You just
them.
have a whole different perspective now.
It just again flipped me on my head again, because and so different than Jersey, so different than Japan. This is the third realm of consciousness that
Right. You finally got to the apex, right?
Oh my gosh, and I realized I was too ambitious, and I was like too. My forcing everything, and my idea of success was with work base, and then how do you enjoy it? And they taught me how to enjoy life, and but at the same time, what was the same underlying theme? Food was important to them too, right? And everything was around food. Whenever the family got together, whenever they got together to socialize, it was around food and drink, wine and family. Yeah, so that was awesome. So my blood pressure probably went down about 10 points each.
And still was able to enjoy good food.
Good food, and again, social around food. And then from there, we said that we didn't want to come back to Japan just to come back to Japan. If we came back to Japan,
It had to be with something.
it had to be with the Sanno. That was our.
Oh, it had
that
to be
was-
at the Sanno?
That was my goal because.
Wait, so you're the one that pushed it? Wait, hold on. I thought you were asked to come to.
Yeah, I was, but I wasn't going to come back to Japan just to come back to Japan. So if other opportunities happened, we weren't going to take it.
Okay.
So Sanno became something special. So again, what happened? And we did get married there. So I was planning the wedding, you know, we did have our wedding there. So pictures on our walls are the Sanno. And when my youngest Tia was born, I have pictures of her, you know, in diapers running around the lobby. So it was that's the only place out of all those places we've been that were special to us. And Tokyo was home for my wife, right? So yes. So after Spain, the position opened in.
Are we coming up to now?
Mm-hmm. I kind of fast forward a little bit, but
How did you? What?
yeah, and then the position.
I thought that they asked you to come here, and but you were planning.
I had it planning in my back of
Right,
my
okay,
brain,
right.
or over lunch with my wife, but the position became open. You know, the general manager was leaving, and and then I had to apply. Yeah, and then I got the job as general manager. Came back 5 years ago, July. Yeah.
So you've been there for
Full circle.
5 years.
5
now.
years, yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long.
No, well,
It really doesn't.
With the pandemic, a year and a half, and the first few years, you're just kind of getting behind things. So, yeah, 5 years. 5 years in July.
How long can you be at the Sanno?
Still a government position, so it's not like business. It's not forever, and that's another reason why I move around a lot, because, especially with overseas, they don't like people staying too long.
What's too long?
Usually once you hit 5 years, somebody's looking at you, or your alarm's kind of going
But Charlie, how long did Charlie stay? See, that's what I'm talking about. So
He was 16, 17
that's what
years.
I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, he was there a long time.
He didn't want to leave.
We're considered NAF, not GS. We're not paid with taxpayer dollars. So the
Even Charlie, in his
right,
case.
these positions, most of these positions I had,
Right.
because we're in the businesses, we get paid with the revenues. So when it's not taxpayer dollars, there's less pressure on you
To leave, right.
Yes.
As long as you
You're
create a
performing-
profit, right, and you make some
You're
profit.
performing, you're happy, your bosses are happy with you, and you can extend. So yeah, I really don't have. I'm not as ambitious as I was before. As far as what's next. I stopped all that. So part of it was in Spain, learning to appreciate love and what you do and where you are, and I'm just enjoying. Even though it's 5 years, I'm not thinking of my next step. I haven't been since I've been here.
I understand, but if you did take it, would it be back to Roda?
Probably not.
No, you go
Probably
back.
not.
You go back to Jersey? You go to Jersey?
I wouldn't mind retiring in Rhoda, but
Would you go to Jersey?
No, I don't think
Oh,
so.
so you still have some protectiveness in you.
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
wanna
No,
still
when
get.
I say ambition, I mean it was crazy before.
I understand.
What's
Look,
next?
I
What's
hear
next?
you.
What's next?
You're preaching
I
to
gotta
the
be,
choir.
gotta be more. Gotta be
Preaching
more.
to the choir.
And I didn't think I'd be in the government system this long. I figured I'd jump to private sector. That was my dream. I wanted to get into the private sector.
That's what you thought.
Hotels or clubs.
Do you still feel that way?
It's just always been there. And then once you have kids, and then the government system provided protection. A lot of my friends were having a hard time after 9/11, even during COVID. People lose their jobs in the hospitality world, and we were protected. Well. So with kids, there's a safety net, and then you start to see government retirement on the. But it's not. The door's not closed. I still see myself doing that if the offer and the time was right. Could go private sector, because I have my 20 years in with the
You got your right. That's true.
so I
You got
would
that.
still,
You can still get that.
so as long as the opportunity's right,
Right.
I don't lose anything.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought you're not just stuck just because you want to make
I
that
got
retirement.
you.
So
I get you.
I like what I'm doing. I love the Sanno. I feel passionately about the Sanno.
But if the Hilton Group comes along and says, "Hey,
you never know.
here you go.
Yeah.
Hey, you know Rapungi Hills. You go, yeah, I sure
yes,
do.
maybe this is my job. This is my job interview.
That's right. It could be. It could be. You never know. You never know. You never know. Isn't that something? So you still see that?
Yeah, I think I could.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to prove to myself, but also do something very different.
Right.
And I'm very happy here in Japan. I still love Japan.
Mm-hmm.
My eldest is in college in DC now, so during that whole time, she made it back to DC, and she said there was an impact when we lived in DC of like the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, the White House that stuck with her. So now she's studying international affairs, international relations. So living in Japan, Korea, Spain, DC. So now she's at George Washington International Affairs.
Wow.
She just found out today. She just called us this morning at 5 a.m. this morning. She just got an internship with the State Department. So she's excited. So
what about your youngest? How much longer does she?
She's at ASAJ. She's a freshman, American school.
Okay, freshman. Yeah.
So
you want to stay until she finishes, right?
That would be ideal.
Ideal, yeah.
Right.
Instead of moving.
High school's hard to move.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So
you want to keep her there till, if you can, if it works out well.
If it works
keep
out.
her there for another 3 years.
Yes.
3 years, and then sky's the limit.
I think so. Yeah.
You should go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
nice. Noriko, how's she feel about it?
Yeah, she's happy here. She works, so she wanted to make sure she wanted to still work. She wanted to, and she did. She wasn't able to in Spain and Korea and DC, but coming back and the kid's older, and she wanted to get back into the work career. And
what does she do? What does she like to do? What she like to do?
She's another reason we get along so well. She also is really into food and culture and travel. She works at Joelle Robuchon in Ebisu Garden Place. Yeah.
At that restaurant?
Yeah. She's in the kind of reservation section. And
so that's good to know.
Some are English. Yeah, I haven't.
You can't. The reservations are
there yet.
I've been there twice only because they're booked a year. How far booked? They booked it more than a year, 2 years.
It's very popular.
I know, but it's hard to get
expensive.
Yeah, I know, but it's hard to get in.
Yeah, so I haven't eaten there. Yeah, but she's in the reservation section and is able to use English. There's a lot of foreign travelers that come.
Okay.
So she likes it. She can walk there from the sauna, and she's happy. So. Yeah, for her working and my daughter at ASIJ, so the family-wise we're good. Yeah. And daughter in DC. But after that, definitely something. There's some ambition. I might not be as conscientious, but there's ambition to do something bigger.
That's interesting.
So hopefully something like
That's
that.
Good. Okay, what do you see? I mean, how would you like to end the podcast? What would you like to say at the end? To give this, because you've opened. I have to say this before we end this. That you've really opened my eyes in some areas. Like, for example, when you talked about. You had a short attention span, which both of us have, but you lose interest quick.
Yes.
Mine wasn't. I interpreted it differently, but the truth is, I do lose interest quick.
Right.
But once I get interest in something, it's laser focused.
Yes. Yes.
Not a whole bunch of stuff, but I become laser focused.
I think,
so much that it's to the detriment of some things. Don't
Absolutely.
let me get like a dog with a bone. Yeah, I'm not gonna let go.
Yeah, I think we're similar in that way. So, if I'm into it and passionate about it, then laser focused and stuff like that. But if I'm not, it could be bad.
That's right.
For me and others. Yeah. That's no. I mean, I think for me, just the sum of it is again with food, travel, hospitality is really at the core. I think of what makes me happy, who I am, and you in the hospitality industry, there's a lot of management. There's a lot of people in it that that it's not natural, and you can't. I don't think you really can understand and be good at it unless it's in your core at hospitality. That you really want to take care of people, that you really have a passion for the service and servant-like leadership and food and hospitality and rooms and stuff like that. So I think that background of my heritage and how I knew that early is what kind of defines who I am. Yeah. So I mean, the travel. I think it makes us evolve. So I was able to, I think, evolve and learn and become more understanding of people and hospitality. I think it's what I was able to pass down to my kids too. I think they're very much children of the world and open-minded and they because they've seen all these different cultures and experienced it, so they see people for just who they are, right? Just naturally. It doesn't have to be taught. So that's really exciting. And I think travel and the hospitality industry provided that. So yeah, it's that's probably what I'm most proud of, is what I was able to pass to them. Yeah, and they're into food. They want good food.
Paul, I want to thank you for taking this time. I really do.
Thanks,
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, we're
It's
able to
been
do
a
it.
pleasure. So am I. I'm glad we got a chance to
Coffee next time.
For sure, for sure. I want to thank all of you for watching. Make sure you press like, subscribe, and never forget, it's all unknown. Continue to reach for the stars, and you're too blessed to be stressed.